Hey guys, it's Maymay, and today I wanted to do a fun project for my kitchen. Now, a lot of you probably know, or some of you may know, my husband has a YouTube channel called Vinny's Vittles, and he does videos in my kitchen. And so I thought this would be really cute to put in the background of his videos, and I wanted to try out this technique that I've not really tried out, not played with much. I will tell you that I did some playing with it last night in the Design Space software, and I think I have figured it out. So I wanted to share it with you guys because I think it's super cute. And I have to give credit to someone in some Facebook group that I'm a part of because I saw a picture of this and it was awesome. It's not exactly what I have here, but it's what sparked this. So if you saw the thumbnail picture, you know what we're going to make. It's a tile, and I am putting vinyl on it to show Vinny's Vittles in the background of his video. So let's get started. The first thing I want to do is I want to do File, New Project, which I already have a new project open here. I'm already on a blank page, so it didn't do anything but just, keep going. The next thing I want to do is I want to come to this little box right here. Now, let me back up for a second. I am signed in to Cricut Design Space, and that's as far as I've gotten so far. This little bitty box right here, if I click it, will give me a grid, and I can see my grid mat. And I want to use these lines in just a little bit. I think they'll come in handy, so I'm going to leave the grid on. Now we're going to insert images. Now what I'm trying to do is find something kitchen-y. I want something that looks, like kitchen or spatulas or an apron or something. And I'm going to put in spatula in my search engine because I did this last night, and hopefully I can find the one I saw that I thought was so cute. And I don't see it here, so now I'm going to put in spoon. And this is just how I search. I just want to show you, like, I am subscribed, so I have the subscription. And I found one last night I really, really liked. You know what? It was this one. And I know it has a plate with it, but I'm going to show you what I'm going to do to get rid of the plate because I don't need it. So we're going to insert this into our new project. I'm going to stretch this a little bit just because I like to work with things that are larger. Now, I really like this guy right here, but I don't care for the plate. So I'm going to get rid of the plate. The first thing I want to do is I want to ungroup this project. The reason for that is I want to get rid of any layers that I can by simply grabbing them, sliding them to the side, and then Xing them out. So I was able to get rid of all of the layers pretty much. I can keep that gray layer and get rid of this layer. Here's why I want to keep the gray layer. I just want an outline to cut, so I'm good with that. If I keep this layer, I end up having to contour every one of these little bitty guys out, and I don't want to do that. So I'm going to get rid of the blue layer and keep the gray layer. Now, just to make sure there's nothing else, and also you can look right over here and see that we only have the cut layer left. Now, I don't want this plate, so I'm going to go right over here to contour and see how it turns it purple. Now I'm going to slide my cursor. I want you to watch my cursor. I'm going to slide it right over this line. And when I do, when I get to that line, it changes colors. Now I click it. By doing that, I've selected it. Now all I have to do is pull my cursor out and click anywhere on the screen, or you can click delete, but I just click anywhere on the screen. And so you can see now the plate is gone. So that's using the contour function. So I'm going to click out and now click back. And by doing that, I have just what I wanted, the fork, knife, and spoon, which is so super cute. All right, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this in this corner, and I'm going to stretch this guy out a little bit, just to about here for now, and then we can adjust it when we're completely done. I just want it to be a little bigger so you can see what we're doing. Now the plan here is to split this guy in half, but to also add a little flourish so it can have like a separation point. So let me show you what we're going to do. We're going to go to Insert Images, and I'm going to insert several different images here. I'm going to go up here to Spoon, and to say, instead of saying Spoon, I'm going to say Craft, and I'm going to click Cartridges, and I want the Craft Room cartridge. Well, I should have done that the other way around. Click Cartridge, then Craft. Okay, so this is Cricut Craft Room Basics. This is free for everybody. Everybody can get this this cartridge basically, and so you don't have to have a subscription or anything. So I'm going to click this rectangle. That's good enough for me, and I can see down here that the rectangle is here. So if I didn't want that rectangle, when I go to insert my images, I can just click that red X and get rid of it, but I want to carry it with me as I look for some other images. Now I want to find a flourish or some sort of design like that. So I'm going to click in flourishes, Now I want to show you something. See how it says no results found? That's because I'm still in cartridges. It's important that you learn this stuff. And the reason is you may get a little frustrated and go, I know there's flourishes on this. Well, this is why. We're still in cartridges. I don't want to be in cartridges. So I'm going to go right here and click all images and then type in flourishes. So don't get frustrated. That can happen. But, you know, you just got to know those little tips and tricks there. So there we go. So we're getting rid of, or we're looking for flourishes now. And we still have our little rectangle down here waiting on us. And now I'm going to find something I'm looking for. What I'm looking for is something that can be on the end of my line that I can also split in half. It won't make a lot of sense to you right now, but once I put it into the to the project and I do it, it'll make more sense and you'll know what you're looking for when you come back for them. I also don't want to pay for one, so I'm looking for ones that are in my subscription. I am enjoying the subscription. I think it has been really, really nice to be able to just come through and go through a whole bunch of images. I'm going to look until I find one, and if it takes me too long, oh, I like this one right here a lot. I think we'll use that one. All right, so I'm going to insert these images. Now, I'm going to move some stuff out of the way so we can kind of see what we're doing. I'll just slide this guy over here. We'll get to him in a minute. I'm going to go ahead and make a copy of this square and paste it. And I'm going to sit it over here to the side. I will need it after a while. I don't need it right now, but I just don't want to have to keep going back to insert images. By doing that, I just have one when I need it. Now, I want to take this and make a long, skinny rectangle out of it. And notice if I try to do it like this, it moves everything together. I don't want to do that. I want to unlock it. I'm going to shrink it up to less than an inch, about like that. And then I want to stretch it out. Now, this piece is going to be my divider between my silverware pieces here. So, if you want to be very specific with your measurements, you can use your grid for this. This is why I wanted the grid. I'm going to take this fork and put it on this 3-inch line. And I'm only doing that to give myself a reference point. That's really all I'm doing that for. So I know it's on the 3-inch line. And now I'm going to take this little line and center it between the 2.5 and the 9.5 inch. And I'm just eyeballing because that's just how I do things. I think it's a little bit wide for me still, so I'm going to shrink it down a little bit more and then bring it down. Now I want to grab this flourish. And I need 2 of them, so I'm going to go ahead. Actually, I'm not going to. I need 2 of them, but I'm going to wait till I get it sized where I want it, and then we can make a copy of it. That way we only have to size it one time. I'm going to turn it on its side to 90 degrees. I'm going to bring it down. Now, it will end up in this area, but notice how it's over my spoon and way down here. I need to shrink it. So I'm going to grab this little arrow and shrink it down to a good size, about like that. And then I'm going to bring it here to the end of this line. Now, I like it there, and I'm pretty happy with how that looks. I think I need to move it down just a little bit. I'm just basically centering it as best I can on that line, and I'm using that little arrow to help me too, or that little grid line to help me too. So I like that. I like the way that looks. Now I'm going to copy this. I'm going to paste it. And I'm going to bring it over here. Now I want to flip it around. And this is how I do it. I just grab this guy and rotate it around because I just have a habit of doing that. But you can also use, there's a flip button. I'm not sure where it is right now. I'll find that and show you guys at a later date. But for now, I'm just going to do it this way because that's just how I do it. And for me, it's a lot faster. So now I have everything lined up like I want it. The problem is these are all multiple pieces, and I don't want multiple pieces. I want them to be all one piece. So now we need to start welding. So I'm going to grab the fork and the spoon and the knife. I'm going to hold my shift button, and I'm going to grab this. Let's see if I can get the line first. Got it. I'm going to weld that together over here in the layers panel. And once it's welded, you'll notice it turns the same color. So now you know the spoon, the knife, and the fork is welded together, but my flourishes are not. So now I'm going to grab the utensils, hold my shift, and grab a flourish. And I'm going to weld that together. And now notice I need to grab this guy because you can see it's not one piece. So I'll grab the utensils and one flourish and that guy and weld it together. Now that's just how I like to do it. And now I have this really cute image, but I want to split this in half so that I can put Vinny's Vittles in the middle. So that's why I saved this guy. Now I'm going to need another square in a few minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and copy and paste that square so I don't have to go search for one and just move it over here out of my way. Alright, it's time to split these guys, and here's what we need to do. We need to turn this rectangle into a tiny thin line. And so I'm unlocking it, and then I'm going to make it skinny and long. And I'm going to make sure that it goes through the image all the way through. You can make it as skinny as you want, but it can't be flat. It has to be a line. I just grabbed the wrong one, so let me move that back. Grab this guy. All right, now we're going to move it up, if I can get a hold of it. Well, I keep getting the wrong thing. Let's try it again. Grab you. There we go. Got it. I'm going to move it up to the center portion of the flourishes. I'm looking at this end, and I'm looking at this end, and I like how that looks. So with this selected, I'm going to hold down shift and grab the utensil. So now basically I've grabbed everything. I'm going to come to the side here and click slice. Now here's what's important. You can only slice 2 images. You can't slice more than 2 pieces. So that's why it's important to weld all of your image together before you slice. Now check this out. I can grab this piece and delete it because I don't need it anymore. And now I can grab this little line in the middle and delete it. Now, although this looks like I have 2 separate pieces now, I still don't, because check this out. They still are attached to each other. And you can't just click unattach because there's not one. So let me show you what you do. This is where this square comes in. I'm going to grab this square. I'm going to bring, or rectangle. I'm going to bring it over, and I'm going to put it right in that little crack there, that little crease. And I'm going to stretch it out. Let me unlock it so it'll stretch just like I want it to. And what I'm wanting to do here is cover this entire area. So I've got all the way to our separation. Now I'm going to hold down the shift key and click the utensil. So I basically selected everything, and I'm going to click slice again. Now this is going to slice it in half, and I'll show you what it does. I can now take this piece that I don't want, see that? And I can delete it. And now I can grab this piece, and I have a separation. So check it out. We just turned that into that cool little image. I love that. Now what I want to do is take this guy and put it all the way to the top, and I'm going to create my separation between them, and I want it to be about 1.5 inches or 2 inches. So I'm using my grid for this. Let's see. I think something about like, let me go back up here. I'm going to put it back together for a second, and I think I'm going to use my down arrow button to move it so I know it stays on the right place there. And that's 1.25 inches. I'm going to do something about like that. Now I want to scroll down here and look and see where I'm at. Okay, I'm at the 11-inch mark, which is perfect. That will cut for me on my cutting mat without any issues. Now I just want to put my wording inside of here. So I will go right over here and add text. Do that again. And now I'm going to put in Vinny's Vittles, just like that. And I want to change my font. I don't care for this font, so I'm going to change it. The way I'm going to do that is to click on the edit button, and I will select the font that I want. And what was the font I like for this one? I don't remember. Sometimes when you click font, it takes a little while. If you have a lot of fonts that have to load, like I have a lot on my system, so they have to load, it takes it a minute, and sometimes you even click it twice before it works. So this one, I love this font. So just switch it to that font, and then I'm going to bring it to the middle here, and I'm going to resize it. I'm going to unlock it first because I'm just going to resize this to fit inside of here. And I don't want it touching anything. I just want it as big as it can go in this section. So I'm just going to stretch it as much as I can. And to be honest, this can come out. It's not a big deal if this doesn't fit. Like if I stretch it out like this and then I bring it over, because see, I've got more width than I do height at this point. And I can do it like this. So now look how cute that is. But there's a couple more things we need to do. So hang on, let's do those. Alright, I need to move that a little bit. There we go. Now I want to grab this and I want to go to the layers and I want to see if this has any background on it, and it doesn't. Notice that it's just the letters and it's a cut. But I want to make these two, I want to attach these together. So I'm going to hold down my shift and click on that spoon to grab everything. Now notice I'm only grabbing the wording in the top, and that's okay. Now I'm going to attach, and now I need to grab this, which is going to be the wording in the spoon, hold down my shift and attach that bottom. Now everything will cut all together at one time, and I won't have the fork, spoon, and knife cutting separate and this cutting separate. It'll all be one image. So let me show you. Let's go up here to go, and look what we're going to get. Isn't that cute? Now looking at this, I'm noticing that I'm a little off center here, and I'm not sure why. I'm going to go back and see what's causing that to happen. So I'm going to X out of this, and sure enough, it is off center. So I'm going to move this guy over. Oh, you know what it is? It didn't attach. Let's try that again. Hold down the shift, grab the top, and attach. There we go. It just didn't attach a while ago. So let's go to go. Now it's right. So always check before you cut. Look at your image here. So now we're ready to take it to the machine and cut it. Okay, so before we're ready to cut, I need to do a little bit of prep work, and I thought I'd bring you along with me. First is I have my mat here. I'm going to move it out of the way for a second and show you. This is the tile I'm going to put this on. This is a 12 by 12 porcelain tile, and it is actually from my house. Whenever we built our house, this is the floor in my kitchen. It's actually the floor throughout my whole house. So I thought it'd be cool to use this, and it was just some leftover that we had. So I'm going to move that out of the way. You will want to make sure that your tile is, nice and clean and doesn't have any dust or anything on it. Now the vinyl I'm going to use today is this Cricut vinyl, and it is some that I purchased at TupeloDesignsLLC.com. They have, or they had a few colors. I don't know if they have any left, but I bought this when they first got it in. I got this and a brown one. So we're going to use that today, and it is the Cricut version. So, and this is it's just Cricut vinyl. It's not like an outdoor vinyl or anything. It's just Cricut vinyl. And I'm going to show you what I do to kind of prep. So this piece I've already cut down to 12 by 12 inches, and I'll bring my mat over. My mat is not extremely sticky, and it needs to be washed, and I've got a couple videos to do before I wash it, but that is what needs to happen. So now I'm going to put this vinyl onto my mat. And what I like to do is just line it up at the top, bring it down here to the bottom. I've got it turned under on itself. And then one thing I like to do before I put this into the machine is to rub out these air bubbles as much as I can, and to even come back with my brayer. First I use my hand because I'm trying not to wrinkle this or cause any issues. But because this comes on a roll and it sits on that roll for so long, it kind of gets trained to have these little bubblies in it. So for me, it's important to do this. I'm just going to rub them out. And this piece right here, I may even have to rub this all the way down to get rid of it. Like I'm going to have to rub it to the end of the piece. But I'm willing to do that because I don't want any issues when I go to cut. Anybody else have to do this? Or is this just something I have to do? But you see how I'm able to move it out of my way, kind of? Just keep rubbing it. And rubbing it. Try not to crease it. That's one thing I am trying not to do. I did get a little crease there, but I think it's going to be out of the way. Okay. Then I've got this one here I need to get rid of. But usually you can get them out of the way. Usually. Then I brayer it. I feel like this helps with the air bubble situation. So if you're having any issues, this is what I do. And I don't mind spending the time on it. Like I said, I'm doing this for a project that's going to be something I have for a long, long time. So I don't mind the time it takes to get that right. But now it's ready to go into our machine. Okay, so we are ready to cut. So all I have to do here is press go. Now, if you were putting this on a piece of glass, you might need to mirror it for some reason. Like if you needed to put it behind the glass for it to show, but I don't need to do that because I'm going to put it straight down. Another thing, you might want to move this around a little bit just to kind of center it, because you know you have plenty of material on your mat before you go, and then you'll just click go. Now, I'm using my USB straight into my computer right now because my Bluetooth is still acting up. I'm not stressed about it. I just click this Explore button with the USB beside it, and I use the cord, and it will load, and then it will tell me that to load the material. And then I can cut. So I can press go on my machine. And now we get to do the fun part. You probably cannot see it, but it is cut and I can see it. Now I want to tell you, normally, I'm not going to do it today because I don't want to take a chance of this because it's taken up most of the space. But if I had a lot of wasted vinyl, and I really only have a couple inches on either side, I would take my scissors at this point and I would just come in. Matter of fact, I'll just do an edge and show you. I would lift up one edge very carefully, and then I would use my scissors and just cut that away. Because believe it or not, I do some projects with some little tiny pieces of vinyl, and even if I have tiny pieces left, I can utilize this in my scrap bin. So I would come in and cut that away, but I'm not going to stress about that today because of time in the video. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to weed this. Now, to weed it, you peel off the top vinyl, and usually it's pretty easy with the Cricut brand, but I want to tell you what I do. I leave this on my cutting mat because it keeps it so stable. So I just leave it there as I weed. I peel up an edge, and keeping it as flat as I can to the surface, I slowly pull. Now here's something I want to tell you. Do not let this sticky vinyl get away from you and fall down on your piece that you're going to be putting on your object. It is not pretty when that happens. You cannot get it to come off because this vinyl sticks to itself very well. See how slow I'm going? And I'm keeping an eye on everything. I'm literally running my eye up and down. And see how this is starting to catch? I don't know if this is going to come off on its own. It might need some help. I'm going to do a little lift on it. I try to be very gentle. Here's my theory. I know we all want to hurry and get these things done, but I want this to last a long time, so I don't mind taking a minute on this project to get it right, because I do want it to last a really long time. And it doesn't take that long. Look how easy this comes off. Now I'm going to drop this over here and pick up from here, but I'm keeping that extra off the side because I do not want it to come back on this vinyl, because I'm telling you, vinyl sticks to itself very well. I learned that the hard way. Now, get this out of the way now. Don't leave it on your work surface. Don't leave it where you can take a chance of it getting into something. Now, I only have a couple of things to weed out, not very much at all. And I'm just going to use this little tool here that I have, and I just kind of poke at those pieces, and they come out pretty easy. Be careful, though, because you don't want to get into your good stuff, to the good letter. Only have 2 E's to weed? Look, I lost a dot. Sure did. I'm going to try to go back and find it. What are the chances I can? But I didn't see it happen, and I lost it. So I'm going to dig through and see if I can find it. Would you believe that I found it? I mean, that is unusual. That never happens. So always keep a good eye as you're weeding, and don't let that happen to you, because there was a good chance I wouldn't have found that, but I did. I got a couple of places in here to weed out. If you're wondering what the term weeding is, it just simply means to weed out the vinyl you're not going to need, or that is not part of the image. So that's what weeding is. Now this is a piece of Cricut transfer tape. It's actually from the the same brand. This comes from the Cricut, from Progrocraft Cricut. And so here's what you do. This is not my favorite transfer tape. However, it is less expensive than my favorite. My favorite is the clear stuff. But I like this one because it's cheaper. And I also like this one because it has a grid on it. Now look, I'm being real brave, and I'm pulling this all the way down to the very, very bottom. And by doing that, I get more control. I don't take it all the way off. That may be hard for you to see at this point. But see how it's still attached? For me, that works easier. And then I'm just going to lay this on top, making sure I catch the top portion. Okay, I'm going to turn this sideways so you can see what I'm fixing to do here. And trying to keep air bubbles out, I'm just going to rub this down and pull that away. Put that in the trash can. Now, I probably am way too meticulous, but now I go back to my brayer and I brayer this down. I just think it's better to be safe than sorry. So, brayer, brayer, brayer. Even my boys know this step. They're like, oh, you got to brayer it. Okay, and now I'm ready to peel this away, and I want to make sure that everything picks up. If something doesn't pick up on my transfer, I lay it right back down and brayer it again. Okay, but I'm going to wait for a second because I need to get my tile up here ready to go. And I can keep peeling it off the mat. Nice and slow. Good deal. Everything came with me, no problem. So now we just want to line this up onto our tile, which might be easier for you guys to see than it's going to be for me to see because of my angle. What I do is kind of put my transfer tape down. I don't really press just in case I feel like I need to move anything, but I'm feeling good about this one. I feel like it looks good. Now I start in the middle and I rub out. And it's the same process for any surface. Anytime I do it anyway, and then I brayer it again. I had this brayer for years and never used it until I got my Cricut and started doing vinyl. And now I use it constantly. So I brayer it, grab my transfer tape and hold it flat to the surface. And look, that did not stick. So I don't even keep going. I just go right back and brayer again until it sticks. If it doesn't stick, rub it with your fingers. Press it in there good. Those little tongs did not want to stick, so I just had to kind of force it. But see how flat? I'm even holding my hand down flat. And I'm just slowly pulling. And if I have to help, I will. Usually you don't, but I think this tile is cool, and it's probably not the best surface for this. Since I made it, I'll know that. And I will be gentle with it. This is really lifting up on me, and I think it's because I'm using this tile. So once I get it off, I'll be able to brayer it down real good. So I'm just using this little tongue depressor that I have and just helping it to stick. If you're using an outdoor vinyl, I don't believe you'd run into this issue. I really don't. Because this is not an outdoor vinyl, and I'm doing it on kind of an outdoor surface. So I'm kind of being unfair to the vinyl, so I don't want to blame the vinyl for this. But see how I'm just taking my time anyway? Because I'm going to get it down there. I'm just going to be slow with it. Now you might think that because I brayered this down so firmly that that's the problem, but I brayer all of my vinyl onto the transfer tape, and I've never had this before. I really honestly believe it's because I'm using a product that's not an outdoor product on an outdoor surface. Because once I press it, it sticks. It's just a matter of getting it in place. See, those did just fine right there. I'm glad. That's doing good up there. We're doing much better. Much better, much better. A little bit of lift right there. I'll stick that back down. A little bit of lift right there. I'm still taking my time because I do not want to take a chance of it messing up. By the way, this vinyl is, it's not white. I can't remember the name of the color. I'll look at it and let you know. Now sometimes you can reuse your transfer tape if you save your little piece for it, because this is still sticky and you don't have to have it real sticky, so just remember that. Sometimes you can reuse that transfer tape. Now I'm going to brayer again. I'm telling you, I brayer, and brayer. My secret is brayering. That's what I do. Now I'm not going to coat this with anything or seal this with anything. I'm just going to leave it just like this. I want to feel how it feels, make sure everything's down. And that's it, guys. It seemed like a pretty good process, didn't it? I love it. I think this is so cute. I think Vince is really going to like this to be in the back of his videos. So if you're not subscribed to Vinny's Vittles, go ahead and do that. I'll leave a link below so you can go check his little cooking channel out. And that way you can see this guy in the background of his videos. Love it. I think it is precious. Thanks, guys, for joining me. And I will see you next time for some more Cricut fun. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.